What's up, guys? Barry Gaming here, back with some more Idle Heroes, and today I kind of want to talk a little bit further on the comparison of Mutated Fungus Geester to Ithaqua and why some people are hyped about it. I don't know if it's as big of a deal nowadays because there's not many game modes that are very relevant that you need him. Could you get like these crazy high damage numbers? Potentially in like, Flame Shrine and stuff like that, but in Broken Spaces, it's kind of irrelevant nowadays. Flame Shrine, again, it's more of a flexing zone there. The only place damage really matters on bosses is going to be Star Expedition and potentially the new global boss. But again, I'm thinking the global boss is going to be a single target damage dealer, and when you're dealing damage to a single target, I don't think Delacium teams are as important. So let's talk about it. Let's first start why we are talking even in the same realm that this is an Ithaqua 2.0. Let's jump right into it. Let's talk about it. Let's get going. So let's start off with the one thing why people are even talking about this. It comes down to his basic attack, his passive skill right here that says changes the basic attack to deals attack damage to the enemy with the lowest HP, burns and poisons the target, dealing damage by a certain percentage of damage dealt. Now, that's the big keyword there, dealing damage by a certain percentage of the damage dealt, because the only other hero that we've ever had for a dot like that is Ithaqua, but it comes in the form of her Poisonous Blade passive, meaning it applies to all of her damage, not just her basic or her active. It says when Ithaqua releases skills of normal attacks, poisons the target, dealing damage by a percentage of the damage dealt, 50%. So that is the big thing here. She has a stack for poison. So much like Ithaqua does poison bleed, Mutated Fungus Geester is going to do poison burn. It's interesting. Because a lot of these things are very similar. She has the ability to basically, deal single target damage to a low HP target. She has like a built-in healing capability. She has like armor break and stuff. So like a lot of these things do sound familiar. And a lot of the skill set that Mutated Geester is getting is, again, very similar to Geester, except we completely lose the twine effect, it sounds like. But again, here, detonates all layers of poison and burn. This is very similar to regular Geester, what we're going to be getting in the new hero. So this is the main comparison here. Now, why is this relevant? Well, because Ithaqua has been one of the highest damage dealing heroes in things like, Flame Shrine, things like that, because of the way this works. If you got a giant killer Ithaqua, the more damage she deals means the bigger the poison dot will be. Why is that relevant though? Because, well, on top of that, we have a hero in the game called Delacium. When the round ends, replicates 3 random dot or attribute reduction effects from one random enemy to other 2 random enemies. Now, see, this is the big thing. It does it to 2 other random enemies, in which one of the most important boss damage game modes now is Star Expedition. Single boss. I mean, I guess you could say the first couple days when there's the tentacles up, or really just like the first day the tentacles are up. You could replicate it, but the HP bars are so small on those early waves of Star Expedition, the Abyss Catastrophe boss, it's not really relevant, and this is not going to be able to replicate it to other targets. It's interesting. It's really interesting because I don't really see a use for this unless we have the new global boss, which, the Fallen Fenrir was the winner of that one. Potentially, maybe, I don't know. The only bonus that Delacium would have is the 70% chance to extend the remaining round of all dots, attribute reduction, and control purify by 2 rounds. So maybe having one of these guys on your team if he's at V4. No, it's still only 70%. That's interesting. So you can't even guarantee that you're extending it out. This part's pretty much useless, and this is where really the Ithaqua gets crazy, where you have these really big high damage poison dots, and then you're just continuously replicating them across the 3 targets when it comes to PvE bosses. But again, can't really do that when there's a single target boss. So is this going to be the new Ithaqua 2.0? Similar abilities, but only applied again to the passive, the basic attack down here. And again, it doesn't even seem that great. Granted, that it says if you do have that mutation awakening, you release the same attack on one random enemy. So if even if it's a single target boss, you basically hit them twice, which is a pretty good size burn. But when you read things like the active skill deals damage to enemies with the lowest HP, burns and poisons the target for several rounds, respectively. If this also says by a certain percentage of the damage dealt, then we truly have another Ithaqua in the game, just a better version straight up. Because then he also has some really cool synergies where allies are going to do more damage if they have the Core of Origin, which normally on the Star Expedition teams you have Mystic Fairy Freya's core, which gives it more attack and stuff like that, but not a multiplicative damage dealt buff to poisoned and burn targets. And that's the next thing I want to talk about. So if we do talk about the next hero that is the most important thing in your lineups, it comes in the form of, actually, I'm just going to go to my hero since we have it unlocked and everything. Where are you, Mystic Fairy Freya? There you are. The last sublimation over here. Noble sublimation right here. 3 layers of evolutioning factor grants 33% of the effect to all allies. What is the third effect? Well, 3 layers at the end of each round increases the damage dealt by self to poison targets by 10%. So you're actually giving 3.3% of that every single round to all allies. Meanwhile, increases self attack by 12% and speed by 15. I imagine the attack and speed gets buffed as well, so it's an ongoing attack percentage buff, but on top of that you're getting additional damage to poison targets every single round if you are at that layer 3. That is really big, and what the core is going to do is something similar, giving bonus damage to poison targets. My guess is a better and higher percentage, and in reality, like, I mean, don't really use this core that often. It's interesting, increases attack and speed by rounds. It's not really needed necessarily. The only thing I'm wondering is if the shield provided by her noble sublimation on her second passive is going to be strong enough to keep a team alive that you could drop, like if you're running either the Vest, I mean, if you're running the Vesta lineup, you're fine. If you're building the Lord of your Aspen lineup, you have to be able to drop the Hyperspace Hunter Islamok or the Fairy Queen Vesta in order to fit this into your team without dropping a hero that is really necessary, like Olivia. Because Olivia, when she's at V4 and really strong, her shrink effect is very powerful. Increases all damage the target takes by 40% while reducing the damage they deal by 60. Amazing survivability, amazing damage boost. We need to try to keep Olivia in the lineup. So if we can fit this new hero, in the lineup, it could be pretty big. But I just don't know if he fits in a lineup just yet. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know what your opinion is on this. I don't think quite an Ithaqua 2.0 unless the global boss that's coming out around anniversary is a multi-target boss. Then maybe we have a new Delacium Armies setup. Hopefully you guys enjoy this one. I'll see you guys next time.